Um, I spend way too much time on my phone, and I don't think I'm unique in that in the slightest. I got my first phone when I was in 8th grade, and pretty much every day since, it has accompanied me everywhere I've gone. It's always been in my pocket. I was pretty much never without it. For the past few years, really since, coming out of COVID, I've known that I needed to change something, that I couldn't just keep wasting away my life on my phone. But I didn't know what to do. I would set screen time limits. I would, limit it, but they were always too easy to get around, and I'd still end up spending a few hours every day on my phone. It really controlled me. I think my phone does, or did. And I think that's too bad. I think it would be great if I could move away from that. I guess recently, in this kind of space, all the rage has been dumb phones or flip phones, buying new pieces of technology that do less to free our minds. And I think that's probably fine, but my phone works fine, and so it feels a little wasteful to just get rid of one when it still works. But I did need to spend less time on my phone, and so we end up losing so much, I feel, when we spend all of our time listening to music or podcasts or audiobooks while we walk around. It's springtime right now where I am, and it would be so easy to just ignore all of the beauty around for the sake of using your phone and staying connected constantly. I don't feel like adding consumption to fix a problem of overconsumption is really the answer. I don't need to consume a new thing, a new dumb phone, because my smartphone is too powerful. I don't know. A while ago I was watching YouTube, as I do frequently. I came across this Eddy Burback video where he got rid of his phone for a month. He locked it in a safe, and he was totally fine. Like Eddy, I benefit from a lot of privilege in the fact that I'm, a large male. So maybe, you don't need to go through all your phone. In fact, I did not get rid of my phone, but what I did do is I started to leave my phone in my room when I went out. I think, especially on college campuses like this, you really don't need a phone while you're out and about. And so if you're in a similar situation where you don't need it for your safety, or, you're not an on-call doctor or something, I'd recommend giving it a try. Just leave your phone in your room, because you really don't need it. The video really opened my eyes and forced me to change how I was functioning. And I don't know. I really appreciated how when you don't have a phone, you're forced to notice so much more around you. Right now it's springtime, and the trees are in bloom, the flowers are out, the birds are singing, and I actually notice them because I'm not stuck with a phone in my hand, texting or watching Instagram reels, or blocking out the sounds of the world with podcasts. You also start to notice how many people around you are just, sucked into their phone constantly. Really, so many people can't go anywhere without their earbuds in and their phone in their hand, or they can't make it through a class without checking their phone under their desk, or and that's fine. I don't want to cast any moral judgment on you if you do that. That's more power to you. If that's something that you take value from, having your phone, go for it. But I'm willing to bet that it's probably not the best thing for you. And if you can, give it a shot. So I've been talking at you for the last few minutes about not using my phone as much, leaving it behind when I go out and about. But you might be wondering what I've been doing with all this, extra time that I've freed up, extra mental energy, might be a better way to put it. And I've been doing a bunch of stuff. The first one, right here, is my pocket notebook. And again, like the dumb phones, they're kind of all the rage in online digital well-being spaces. But I don't think they're really that magical. But they are useful tools. And I basically just use mine as a catch-all. I do to-do lists, I write poetry, I write little lists. The big thing I do with my pocket notebook that kind of replaces a phone is if I have a question or an idea that I might plug into my notes app or into Google, I'll write it here and then I'll come back to it. And if I still find it to be interesting or worthwhile to look into, I'll look it up or I'll transfer it to something else. And I find frequently I don't actually care that much, and that kind of question or idea pops into my head and then it leaves, and I don't really need that information. That space in my mind is kind of freed up, and so I find that quite useful. So I don't know, I'd recommend giving that a try, perhaps. Another thing I've been doing quite frequently to stay off my phone is journaling. I'm a pretty active journaler, and I would recommend giving that a shot. I pretty much just kind of stream of consciousness will pull it out and just write whatever's on my mind. And this is kind of more long form than the pocket notebook. It's more than just a few little notes. It'll be like full paragraphs, pages sometimes. And I just kind of go and if I have something troubling me, I'll get it out that way. If something interesting happened in my life, I'll get it out that way. I'm not a strict, this is what's going to be in my journal. It can be kind of anything. It's usually quite reflective, I find, in my actual journal, but I don't follow strict rules, and it's just kind of a great way to center my mind and bring it back. If I find myself procrastinating or drifting off and not doing work that I need to be doing, I'll pull out the journal and I'll just write for maybe 10-15 minutes, and that'll do a pretty good job of bringing me back into a good headspace where I can read or write or do other work. So when I find myself drifting off, where I maybe in the past would have pulled out Instagram and started scrolling, I've been trying to pull out my journal and just start recording thoughts, because that's helpful for me. Your mileage, of course, may vary, but I would recommend giving that a shot, and I can make a video about it maybe in the future, diving into my strategies a little bit deeper. Another thing I've been doing is just reading a lot. I'm an English major here at college, and so frequently I have these big, long readings for my classes. And a great way to get through them is just really sitting down and reading for like an hour, 2 hours straight. And that's really hard to do if you have your phone tempting you. And, it's really difficult to build up that stamina if you do have your phone around distracting you constantly. And so I find it's really helpful to kind of unplug and not have any kind of distractions like that if you want to read more. I'd recommend, if you would like to read more, putting away your phone. The last thing I've been filling my time with while not using my phone is just spending time writing. As I mentioned, I'm an English major, and we have a lot of papers to write and discussion posts and the like, so I have to write a lot for school, and so I've been doing that. Not having my phone certainly aids in that, but also I've been, writing short stories and poetry, which I love to do, and not bringing my phone places has made a little bit more time for that. So that's a benefit. And then I've also been writing letters to my friends and family, sending out, 1 or 2 a week, because receiving a paper letter is just so special. So throughout this video, I've been talking to you about how I think it's really important to limit the amount of time we have on our phone. And in this last section, I've discussed all of the things that I do to keep myself off my phone, reading books, writing, and I think all of those things are great. But I think also it's really important to remember that it's okay to just take some time to not do anything. You can put the phone down and not pick anything else up, and just spend some time without anything that you're consuming. You can just sit there and think and really listen to your thoughts and just accept that you don't need to be doing stuff constantly. There are so many things that are grasping at your attention. There's social media, there's the news, there's school, friends, family. There are all these things that are grasping for your attention, and really there's only so much time in the day where you can spend time thinking about things and doing things. And it's so easy to get in the habit of just going for whatever is the most convenient thing or the most entertaining thing. And then, as we consume more, we get in this cycle of needing to constantly be doing and constantly consuming. And it's okay to take some time and do nothing. I think we need that sometimes. It's all too easy to forget that we can just do nothing for a while. And I think it's worth giving a try. It's worth just putting down the phone, putting down the book, putting down any other obligations from time to time, and just sitting there or lying there and just being present in the moment and nowhere else. Don't let your attention be completely stolen. And it's definitely hard, but I think it's worth it. It's worth trying. And building off that, I think it's really important to be cognizant about where we're spending our mental energy, where our attention's going, what we're focusing on, and just be mindful of where you're placing your thought power. Don't let it get sucked into things that you don't want it to be. And so, if you decide that your best and the thing that matters the most to you is social media, then great. But if like me, you decide that you'd rather be spending your mental energy somewhere else, then give that a go and try focusing on something else, either books or school, because that could be really beneficial to you. And you never know until you give it a try. So I think, my biggest advice is not necessarily put your phone down, but just be cognizant of what your phone is doing to you and to your mind. And if you decide that it's something that you don't like, try to make a change and try to change that. Maybe this video will be a wake-up call for you to spend less time on your phone, and maybe you won't. Maybe you'll go watch the Eddy video, and maybe that'll, wake you up. Or maybe you've decided that you don't really mind, and that's okay too. But I think we really can only benefit from giving this kind of thing more thought. So, try not using your phone for a day while you're out and about. That's really all I have to say. So, thanks for spending some of your time watching this video. And yeah, see ya.